Hi everyone, I am Brittany the Cosmic Lunar Soul. Welcome to my channel if you are new, and welcome back to all my subscribers. My setup is a little different today, so I hope you like it. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of a witchy chit chat using Ravenflower's WitchTag. So I'm a little late to the game, so some of the questions might be a little irrelevant for the month that we're in, aka March. But I'm going to do it anyway because I really love some of the questions. I really love some of the responses I saw from the other witch tubers out there, and I think this would be a fun way to connect with everyone. So let's get started. Questions 1 and 2 are whether you believe in New Year's resolutions, why or why not. I will say yes and no, leaning more towards no, because it's not really about the resolution part, it's the New Year's part. I feel like New Year's resolutions are a way for people to sort of set themselves up for a lot of disappointment and simultaneously just push off the need for setting these resolutions. So I don't feel like you have to wait for the New Year's to actually set resolutions and to set goals and, you know, start visioning out what you want to do and start setting into motion these different changes. And I think relying on the New Year is just an excuse to postpone doing that. So, and then also I think that there's this stigma about New Year's resolutions needing to be something big and extravagant, and people set this like crazy goal to do something, and it's more or less unfeasible. It's unrealistic, I should say, and all that does is kind of keep you in the cycle of saying, okay, well, I didn't meet the resolution in this amount of time, so I'm going to wait till the next year to set this goal again, and this time I'm going to do it. And I think it just keeps people in a cycle of failing to meet their goals. Because there's this stigma that, like I said, New Year's resolutions have to be something really large, but really you could make your New Year's resolution something small that is going to help progress you into the greater large. But a lot of people don't really do that. So yes and no. I mean, I have done resolutions that I think I've done really well in, but then I've also done resolutions that I think I've not done so well in. So I try not to fall into that. I try not to fall into the idea of like waiting until New Year's to do a resolution or set goals. So what I really enjoyed this year was my friends and I waited until February to do vision boards. And it's just generalized. Mine was very general, and I'll try to put a little picture in, maybe like right here, about what my vision board is. And it's really general. There weren't like major goals. There were just things that I hope to change about myself throughout the year, or things that I hope change in my shop, things that I can focus on. But there are no hard set numbers like I'm going to lose 20 pounds by June, you know? So, yeah, I think how you do the New Year's resolution can really play into whether I think they are good or not, but I try to just avoid it altogether because I think that sometimes it can be a little toxic for myself. Question 3 is, what is your favorite color? So I don't have a singular favorite color. I have 3, and it's probably really basic witch of me, but purple, black, and silver. And the follow-up question is, do these favorite colors hold magical or emotional meaning for me? Not really. Purple, black, and silver have been my favorite colors since... Purple has been my longtime favorite color since I was a kid. I've always loved purple. I remember reading about colors and sort of their meanings, but not in a magical sense. And purple was like the sign of royalty and regality. And I'd already loved it, and that just made me love it even more. So yeah, I've always deeply loved purple. I like black because it's slimming. I think that I look really good in black. I'm wearing black right now. But so that's, and I think black is a good complementary color to purple. And then I like silver because I like silver jewelry. It's very superficial. There's really no meaning behind it other than that. Questions 5 and 6 are: do you use substances for divination or meditation? Why or why not? Yes and no. I don't enjoy meditating in the traditional sense anymore. So I know that this question is really talking about like mood altering substances. So yes and no. My favorite way of meditating is really like to veg out in front of like the TV in a bath or something like that. So sometimes I'll enjoy like a glass of wine when I'm doing that, and it's just a way for my mind to relax and come down, especially if it's been a stressful day. But the wine's not really the sole focus. It's really the bath that is. Sometimes I do enjoy a glass of wine. Sometimes I don't. It depends on whether I guess I have wine in the house or not. But it's also not necessary for me to enjoy my meditative bath, I guess. In terms of divination, I will sometimes burn mugwort. I guess it's the closest to uh, like using a substance, because mugwort can be a little it can stimulate your brain in ways similar to like CBD and stuff like that. So I burn it. I grow my own mugwort and dry it, and you can actually see some in the back here. Um, so I'll burn it sometimes, but not always. Usually I don't need to, because I'll just wait to do divination till I'm in the right mindset to do it. There's usually no rush, but if I have like sometimes before my live stream, or sometimes if I have set a time with my friends to do a reading for them, I will. I found that I actually do fairly well with alcohol and divination, but I don't. It's not necessary, but there's also limits. Like I can probably get through 2 glasses of wine before I'm not able to divine anymore. So yes and no. Some of my ritual oils that I use have mugwort in them, so I think more so it's not enough, and it's topical, so it's more so to help me relax. And the essential oils and the mugwort infused oils really help just get me in the right mindset if I need to. Just like a little bit of a ritual to help give my mind something to focus on in preparation for the session. So yes and no. Number 7, what is your favorite part of your practice? I started my practice off and still continue my practice enjoying herbs a lot. I have, like I said, I grow my own mugwort. I also have basil up there. Where is it? There we go. We have basil up there drying as well. So I really like to grow things when I can. I'm kind of in zone 7A, so I have enough of a growing period that I can get really traditional herbs. I've also grown and dried my own peppers. So while I don't necessarily do kitchen magic regularly, I do like to use my peppers in like a hot foot powder. I use my basil. Actually, I only eat with the basil. I use my mugwort in. I've tried teas, but mugwort tastes like butt, so I don't do that anymore. But I use them for my oils, and sometimes I'll burn them with other things. I've even thought about trying to sign up for herbology classes. It's just the time. The money portion isn't really that much of a big deal at this stage of my life, but finding time to do it is really the hard thing. So I haven't really done that, but I do invest a lot in books, or like physical books, PDF books, whatever, on herbs, both medicinal and magical. And I really like the conglomeration of the two. And you can probably see some of my herbs like back here in my little cubbies. Another part of my practice that is really meaningful to me and is having begun ancestor work. I don't do it as regularly as I'd like to, but just being able to set up an ancestor altar and light some incense or a candle for them is really meaningful to me, because that's kind of why I started my practice after some loss in my family and just kind of feeling a little bit in a rut. That was really what pulled me out. So being able to connect with them and actually set up a beautiful altar for them is really meaningful to me. And even though it's not as much of a core of my practice as I'd like for it to be, it's still just meaningful because it's a physical thing in my house that I can walk by every single day, multiple times a day, and just feel very connected to them. And I will say, like, an honorable mention of like something that I really enjoy in my practice is being able to help my friends. So I created a shop that sells occult products and I would say spiritually charged products. I don't do Reiki, so I won't use those terms, but being able to create things for people that can help them in the ways that they have helped me is really meaningful to me. Number 8, what is the least favorite part of your practice? I will say, so it's a few things. Someone mentioned cleaning, and honestly, yeah, it it can be exhausting, especially when you're like cutting up herbs and drying herbs and grinding herbs. It could get so messy, and cleaning that up and then also trying to get to it before the cats clean it up can be a nightmare sometimes, even though I do love working with the herbs. Also, sometimes the research can become really exhausting. I like looking up new things. I like learning about new things, but the way that I create my spells can sometimes take a lot of just mental energy. It takes a lot of time, both physical time, then the mental energy that it requires to look into things before I get things just feeling right. It can take a while, and then you're too tired to actually do the spell, so you have to plan for it another day. It creates a lot of planning that I need to do. Number 9, how do I feel that my practice has grown over time? I feel like ultimately I've become really just much more confident in myself and my magic and my ability to do spells. I don't feel that I had the fear that I see a lot in new witches today, but I just always had a little bit of that self-doubt in there, and I suppose maybe that's just a me thing, not necessarily in response to my practice. But I feel like I've become more confident over time, and like I've become more willing to do spells for other people, mostly just my friends. I don't really charge for that, but I enjoy being confident enough to share my knowledge with people. Number 10, is there a movie or a show that inspires me? Not in regard to my practice, I would say. I'm more inspired by my friends, the people around me. I love learning from them. Like it was my friend Lauren, who we do a podcast together now, but she's the reason that I finally like bit the bullet and took the dive into witchcraft in the first place. I will say that I think that witchcraft in pop culture is really interesting, though. I like the different perspectives, and of course, I'm of the generation really enjoyed Practical Magic, The Craft, the original Sabrina, stuff like that. And stuff that I could rewatch to this day. But I wouldn't say that it inspired me in any way. I watched a lot of them when I didn't understand the concept of witchcraft in the real world and not in the fantasy world. So I would say maybe aesthetically I might be inspired by some of them, but no, not even, because I don't think really the most aesthetics I can think of from any of the ones that I just mentioned were maybe some of the girls in The Craft, but no, not really. Number 11, do you have a familiar? I do not. I have 2 black cats. but unpopular opinion, I don't consider your pets to be your familiar. I think the likelihood a pet is a familiar is extremely rare, and you most likely don't want your pet to be your familiar anyway, just because of the nature of what a familiar's job is, I guess. So yeah, I wouldn't wish that upon my pet at all. But I think that perhaps my childhood pet was what I would call like a magical pet, maybe. He definitely did not fit the cat bill, and he was I didn't know, everybody says this about their pets, but he was super smart, very in tuned with me specifically. And, you know, if I was a kid that grew up knowing about witchcraft and magical pets, I'd probably have thought that much sooner. But I always thought, even then, as a kid, like, you know, this cat and I have like a really weird connection, and it's super strong, super fast, and I, you know, even to this day, he's long gone now, but even to this day, we still have this like bond. My two cats now, I'd say just normal, beautiful little black house panthers. Number 12, would you recommend any YouTube channels? Yeah, I would. You know, I feel like I'm new to WitchTube, so I can't like just name them off the top of my head, but I will definitely put them in the description. I follow a lot of tarot tube, and I don't really equate tarot inherently as witchcraft, so that's why it's hard for me to really think on who I would recommend. But I'll make sure to put a link to their channels in the description. Okay, number 13. This is a long one, so I'm going to read it. Name something you must do daily for your mental, emotional well-being or for your practice. I don't think there's anything I need to do. The closest is probably coffee. I think I need to have my coffee in the morning, and I like to stir intention into it, and I think it just helps me set the day. It helps me feel like the day has officially started. So, I mean, I guess kind of, but there are days that I don't do coffee. I guess need is such a strong word. That's something that I enjoy, though, and I feel like if I don't do it, the day feels a little off, but it's also not the end of the world. I would say close second would be like cleansing showers and baths. I do a lot of like showers and baths. I know everybody showers and bathes, but I like to make them more cleansing. So I have oils that I mix up for my showers, and I have salts that I mix up for my baths, and almost every single time I'll add a few drops of oil to the shower floor, and just it creates like the sauna. You can breathe in nice and deep. It helps me set the mood because I take evening showers and baths. It helps me set the mood and clear my mind from the day behind and prepare for bed. So I would say that is probably something that was necessary, especially because it's something that I do mindfully. Number 14, what's something that started out as an obstacle, but you can see now as a blessing? I could not think of anything for this. I don't think I had anything that counted as an obstacle, and I feel like that sounds really perfect, even though my journey has not been perfect. I just didn't consider anything to be an obstacle. I feel like everything was like a natural progression of things. You know, you kind of live and learn, but nothing ever really just set me back where I felt like, oh, I have to start from scratch, or I need to take a huge break from anything, or something that just really altered my perception of something that I was doing something wrong in any kind of way. So I feel like there were just natural things that as I was starting to learn about them, there were things that as I was learning, things that I wanted to do and things that I didn't do. And it is what it is. Question 15. Would you prefer YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok? So my order and preference of social media when it comes to my witchery is Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and then if I really have to, TikTok. In terms of community, I also throw in Amino after YouTube and before Facebook. Mm, Somewhat equal, actually, to Facebook. Um, TikTok is always going to be last when it comes to the witch community. I joined TikTok during that witch talk phase where everybody was like hexing each other, like baby witches were trying to hex the moon and hex the fae, and then there was basically like the witch talk wars, I call them. I don't know what you guys call them, but it was draining. It was the only thing on my For You page, and I couldn't get out of that. So I will mindlessly scroll through TikTok now. I've kind of gotten out of the witch talk tag on my For You page, and now it's like cat videos and like just decompress from the day kind of videos. So I probably should, for my shop, be more active on TikTok, but I do not like it at all. I probably have the best community on Instagram, so I really enjoy Instagram. It's the platform that I understand the algorithm the best. I've had little to no drama on Instagram. I will say the issues with Instagram are with Instagram itself. Their inability to control the scammers, the scammer accounts that are popping up is becoming problematic. But in terms of the people, I really enjoy Instagram a lot. And that was the first official community that I felt like I was an active part of. YouTube, I feel like I'm just breaking into YouTube. Even though I've posted a few videos, I don't feel... YouTube is hard to have a community on because you can't get a community tab until you have 500 subscribers. So you spend all of that time from 0 to 500 feeling like you're on your own and only able to talk to people through the camera. And by that time, it's so impersonable because you've recorded the video however much ahead of time, posted it to YouTube. You may get a few comments, especially if you're in that 0 to 500 subscriber category. So you really have no one to talk to in response to your videos. So you're kind of just doing videos for no one for a long time. I've recently found a tarot community that we chat on Instagram because YouTube does not have that feature. But again, I don't have that with the witch side of things. So I've started to build a tarot tribe on YouTube. Still struggling a little bit with WitchTube. Facebook, my issues with Facebook are Facebook is kind of neutral, I will say. It's I don't like advertising on there because I do it, but the reach, the community is different. There are groups where you can advertise and stuff, but it's basically just everybody advertising. There's no real community. I've joined a few buy-sell groups, and I kind of have a little bit of a community there, but I feel like it's very at arm's length, I'll say. And then the witchy Facebook groups, I have one that we created, and we're kind of tight-knit, but from the ones that we joined, not so much. I don't know. I Facebook just feels so... I don't know how to explain it. Question 16. What do you feel is missing from our witchy community? I kind of talked about this in regard to the different social media platforms, what I think is missing. And I would say as a whole, it's not just one thing. I think every platform does things well, but every platform misses the mark in some regard. So like for Instagram, I feel like it's pretty neutral, pretty run-of-the-mill. You can create group chats. You can do lives. You can do a little bit of everything. And maybe this is me being biased because I prefer Instagram, but you can, and Instagram is starting to create things that I think are making up for some of the lack of stuff. So like you can schedule stuff now. I think their lives still need to be improved on. I don't think they'll ever be a long content platform, no matter how much they want to be, and that's okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But because of that, I don't think Instagram is the place to go if you want to get really in-depth information, because Instagram's really pushing reels, which is like TikTok, and you just can't get that kind of information in such a short amount of time. So I think Instagram is great for meeting people. I think it's great for chit-chatting and building actual relationships, but perhaps not for getting in-depth information that you need. So YouTube, I kind of feel like as I mentioned before, YouTube might have a community, but I haven't discovered it yet. I haven't discovered how people commune on WitchTube. It's probably because I'm new. I know people do collabs. I just don't feel like there's any. YouTube is nebulous, I think, is really what I'm getting at, where everybody exists on their own channel. And while, yes, we can come together, but it's a brief come together. We do one video, or maybe even if we have a series, we do that video, but the people are always their own little nebulous existence in the YouTube world. Like, we don't have a place for people to DM us. We don't have a place to create groups where, like, if we have a constant collab, like I told you, my tarot group has a group, but it's on Instagram because we have no way to actually collaborate in any other way on YouTube other than video. So I feel like it's missing the actual community. The community is really disjointed. So as a creator, I feel a little disconnected from the community, which means I feel disconnected from viewers and other creators, unless they are somewhere else that I'm collaborating with. So I feel like it makes it hard. It makes it hard to connect with people. But I will say YouTube does a great job of providing long form content that we as content creators and like we as viewers can go and get and give information, and we have the time to put effort and detail and research into everything. We have time to explain stuff. We're not trapped in this 60-second box. I would say Facebook has the issue that literally everybody is on Facebook. I consider Facebook to be the default social media. It's more likely someone has Facebook over any of the other social media platforms. I know that's not true of everyone, but just me generalizing without any real statistics, I find that Facebook therefore has a lot of people who are new and also unwilling to do their own research. So, which is fine to have a community and ask questions and stuff like that, but I feel like the witch groups are therefore not, once you get out of what I would call the beginner phase or baby witch phase, whatever you want to call it, there's nothing left for you. You spend all your time answering the same exact questions over and over again to people who could just Google it or just read a book. And I find that very frustrating. I find it's hard to find groups that don't cater to that. So technically, I use Facebook as networking and research for like business and podcast stuff in the witchy realm, not necessarily for witch collaboration. So my witch community is on Facebook or business related. Question 17. How much space do you use for supplies and spell work? I guess technically my whole house, but realistically it would be a single bedroom. I do have, I guess I consider the kitchen another space to do work, but I guess I'm counting it more so of like what I consider the core of my witchcraft. So I have my ancestor altar in a hallway, but the core of my working stuff is in one room. It's actually in this room. So I have a modular altar over there in the closet. I have some herbs back there. I have I have my books over there. So this room is pretty much my hub. I think I kind of answered this question, but question 18, how many altars do you have? Technically 2. I have one working altar, and then I have my ancestor altar. And I said technically because I guess I do a little kitchen witchery. So I guess the kitchen could count as another altar, but I don't really consider it that. Number 19, what is your favorite Sabbat? So I don't actually celebrate the Sabbats. I know that's a popular thing to do with witches, but I really don't like to really associate with Wiccan traditions, honestly, so I really don't go out of my way to celebrate the Sabbats. I enjoy Samhain because I enjoy Halloween. It's literally half my personality, so I guess by default Samhain, but that's because it's directly correlated to a holiday that I actually really enjoy. And I guess if you were twisting my arm and I had to pick a second one, it would be Yule because it's very closely related to Christmas and I enjoy that time of year because I spend it with family. I like this question. Number 20, do you prefer tarot, runes, oracle, or pendulum? So I actually use all 3. I obviously more predominantly in the tarot oracle card world because it's the most popular, and the good old algorithm tells me that I should do that. But I really enjoy all of them. I started with tarot, transitioned very heavily into oracle because I really like the freedom of it. Then I transitioned into bone reading, which I really enjoy. I don't do it as often because and I'll explain why I use each one, but I don't do that one as often. And then I very recently transitioned into runes, but specifically witches runes. And then I do have a few pendulums. I don't use them as often either because, and again, I'll go through them. So these are my bones. This set here is mostly everything came in a set. I really enjoyed just being able to start off with something and add to it. I got this as a gift. I got this as a gift, so they have made their way into the set as well. This one came in what should have been a bone set, but it was just this, so that's my disappointment bone. But yeah, this is my bone set. I really enjoy using the bones for general overall getting a big picture understanding of what is going on. I'm still learning, so bones are very much set by the user. And what I mean is each bone can mean something different to everyone, and no 2 sets are going to be the same. No 2 sets are going to have the same number of bones or charms. No 2 sets are going to have the same types of meanings for their items, for their charms and bones as another set. So it makes creating the system for reading up to the user. So on top of the variations of bones, and I guess maybe I should just do a whole video of this instead of tying this video up anymore, but the set of how to decide which bones are what the meanings are, and how to throw and read them is different from person to person. So I'm still learning how to do that. For my yes or no, or like needing to make a decision, I like to use my yes or no coin. I also have a few pendulums here. So I really enjoy honestly, it's turned into collecting pendulums versus actually using them. I don't trust myself enough to actually give a full reading with just pendulum, I will use my coin for that. So if people have yes or no questions, I don't like to use tarot for that. It seems like a waste of time. So I'll use my yes or no coin, and then if they want a more in-depth reading, they can do that. The reason that I am a little weary of pendulum is because I'm not sure if I'm utilizing it properly, if I'm actually getting the right results. So actually, guys, you know, instead of boring you guys in my WitchTag video, I can do a video of my divination as a whole. So comment below if you would like me to do that. Finally, I have my runes. These are witches runes. They are not like the traditional runes that you will see. There's only 13 of these. I like them because they are much quicker to learn. I like to use these mainly in support of tarot as like an overall energy reading, similar to how I use Oracle actually. I have not, like I said, these are new to me, so I've not dived into doing just full rune readings yet, but I enjoy pulling a rune for the day and getting an energy for the day. Question 22. Are you in the broom closet? I am not. I never was. I started when I was an adult. I had no need to be in the broom closet. My family's not hyper religious, and the ones that are, I really just don't care. Kind of always lived my life like that, so this is just another aspect of that. And finally, who am I going to tag in this video? I have a few people in mind, but again, I told you I'm still kind of getting into the swing of things with WitchTube, so I will make sure to tag them in the description box below. So the witch tag was super fun. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more about me. Thank you, Katie Flowers, for such a lovely idea. And if you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Turn on that notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. And I will catch you in the next witch tag, I guess. Bye.